Welcome to Zen Mind Peaceful Life, where we explore the depths of astrology, personal growth, and the mysteries of the universe to help you live a more balanced, fulfilling life. Have you ever encountered someone whose presence seemed to light up a room, yet you found it hard to understand them? Someone who can be both inspiring and intimidating at the same time? That is the essence of Aries, the first sign of the Zodiac. Aries is known for its fiery, unstoppable energy, but did you know that these very traits make them one of the most polarizing zodiac signs? In today's video, we're diving deep into 21 reasons why Aries is often considered the most disliked sign in astrology. You might think you know everything about Aries, but what if I told you there are hidden traits that make them difficult to connect with? There are aspects of their personality that can both mesmerize and upset those around them. And by the end of this video, you might find yourself questioning how well you really understand this powerful sign. But here's the catch: Aries, with all their passion, intensity, and independence, is also someone who can teach us important lessons about self-confidence, authenticity, and the courage to pursue our goals without hesitation. As we explore why Aries can sometimes rub people the wrong way, we will also uncover the deeper layers of their personality that might just inspire you to embrace some of their most admirable traits. So, before we begin this fascinating journey through the world of Aries, I want to know, are you an Aries yourself, or do you know someone who embodies these fiery traits? Share your thoughts with me in the comments below. And if you're new to our channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video on astrology, personal growth, and the secrets to a peaceful life. Stay tuned until the end because you'll be amazed by the surprising truths about Aries that most people don't dare to talk about. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get started. 1. Aries hates cliché romantic gestures. One of the key traits of Aries is their desire for authenticity. Aries individuals are not fond of overly sentimental displays of affection that feel shallow or performative. For them, genuine love is about connection, not grand gestures that scream for attention. They reject the notion of love being expressed through flowers, chocolates, or public declarations. They prefer quiet moments of intimacy that feel real and unforced, making their love feel more profound. This can be a problem in relationships, especially if you are someone who thrives on traditional romantic gestures. Imagine a person giving you flowers, expecting affection in return. But Aries brushes it off, not because they don't care, but because they believe that these gestures don't truly capture the essence of love. This attitude can create misunderstandings, as others may view Aries as cold, distant, or emotionally unavailable. Aries values emotional authenticity over external validation, which can often leave people feeling rejected or unimportant. While Aries sees these actions as unnecessary, many people find comfort in traditional forms of affection, and when Aries rejects them, it can feel hurtful. For those who seek constant reassurance through symbolic acts of love, Aries' resistance to cliché romanticism can feel like a dismissal. The bottom line is that Aries is not against love, but against anything that lacks sincerity. Understanding this could help you navigate your relationship with an Aries by focusing on small, meaningful gestures rather than large, performative ones. 2. Brutally honest communication. Aries is renowned for its direct and straightforward communication style. While this trait can be refreshing, especially in a world full of vague or evasive conversation, it also has its downsides. Aries doesn't sugarcoat their words or worry about sparing your feelings. They say what's on their mind, whether it's comfortable or not. This commitment to honesty can come across as blunt, tactless, or even rude, especially when they're telling you something that might be hard to hear. In relationships or social situations, Aries' brutal honesty can often be the source of tension. Imagine telling someone you love them, only for Aries to respond with a simple "that's not enough. You need to show it more." While this is their way of staying true to their feelings, it can leave others feeling exposed, embarrassed, or even attacked. Aries tends to focus on what they believe is the truth and will not waste time with pleasantries or evasion. To them, honesty is a sign of respect, while avoiding the truth is disrespectful. While this quality may seem admirable to some, it can alienate those who aren't used to such directness. People may interpret this as insensitivity or confrontation rather than a form of integrity. As a result, Aries can become isolated, misunderstood, or even disliked for their refusal to soften their words. It's important to note that Aries sees no problem in their communication style because it's a reflection of their desire for transparency and clarity, but not everyone is ready to handle that level of honesty. If you're dealing with an Aries, understand that they don't mean to hurt you with their words. Instead of feeling offended, try to engage with them in an open and honest manner, as they will appreciate the directness in return. On the flip side, Aries may benefit from learning to balance their candor with some empathy, understanding that not everyone can handle the raw truth the way they can. 3. Passion meets intensity. Aries is an intensely passionate sign, pouring their heart and soul into everything they do. Whether it's pursuing a personal goal, working on a professional project, or even engaging in a hobby, Aries brings unmatched energy and commitment. This all-consuming drive is something that Aries thrives on. It motivates them and defines their character. However, this same passion that fuels them can become overwhelming for others. Aries doesn't just participate in life, they dive into it headfirst. They take charge, push the envelope, and expect the same level of enthusiasm from those around them. But not everyone shares Aries' intensity. If you're someone who prefers a more laid-back or calm approach to life, you might find Aries' relentless drive exhausting or frustrating. They have a tendency to dominate conversations, make decisions quickly, and expect others to match their level of dedication. This creates a dynamic where people who are less enthusiastic may feel overshadowed or left behind. Aries doesn't shy away from challenges, and in fact, they thrive on competition. They want everyone around them to be just as fired up and willing to face challenges head-on. This can make collaboration difficult, as those with quieter personalities may feel alienated or pressured by Aries' demands. Despite the admiration that Aries' determination can inspire, it also creates a sense of imbalance in relationships. When one person is constantly in high gear, while others are trying to slow down, tensions arise. Aries' approach to life can leave others feeling like they're struggling to keep up. While their passion is undeniably admirable, it also highlights the exhausting nature of their personality, making Aries a love it or hate it sign in the zodiac. 4. Creativity as a must. Aries thrives in environments that are dynamic, creative, and intellectually stimulating. They constantly seek out people who are imaginative, innovative, and willing to think outside the box. For Aries, being surrounded by visionary thinkers fuels their own creativity and drives them to push boundaries. However, this high standard for creativity can often make Aries seem elitist or dismissive, as they have little patience for what they consider uninspired or mundane. Aries' need for creativity can sometimes lead them to overlook the value of people who don't share their level of intellectual or creative ambition. If someone doesn't meet Aries' high expectations, they can quickly become disinterested or critical. Aries' selective approach to relationships often alienates those who don't align with their vision, making them appear arrogant or judgmental. This tendency to prioritize their own intellectual and creative stimulation above all else can create feelings of inadequacy or exclusion in others. While Aries sees their creative drive as something that fuels their personal growth, others may interpret it as arrogance or a refusal to appreciate different perspectives. To those who aren't part of Aries' creative circle, it can feel like they are being disregarded or undervalued, which only adds to the stereotype of Aries as a difficult and polarizing sign. If you are someone who isn't driven by the same passion for creativity, you might find it difficult to connect with Aries. But for Aries, creativity isn't just about artistic expression, it's a fundamental part of their identity and a reflection of how they see the world. To build a successful relationship with an Aries, it's important to recognize and respect their need for constant inspiration and challenge, while also offering your own unique perspectives. 5. Sensuality turned overwhelming. When it comes to intimacy, Aries is one of the most sensual signs in the zodiac. Their approach to romance is fiery, bold, and intense, bringing a level of energy and enthusiasm to their relationships that is unmatched. For Aries, love is an all-or-nothing experience, and they expect their partners to meet them at the same level of intensity. This insatiable appetite for passion and connection can sometimes be overwhelming for their partners. Aries approaches intimacy with the same vigor they apply to every other aspect of life. There's no room for hesitation, and everything is done with full force. While this can create magnetic chemistry and intense romantic connections, it can also lead to exhaustion or disappointment if their partner isn't able to keep up with their fiery energy. Aries' boldness in the bedroom, coupled with their high expectations for emotional and physical vulnerability, creates a situation where there is little room for compromise. If their partner isn't as enthusiastic or intense, Aries may become frustrated, feeling that their needs aren't being met. This creates a power dynamic where Aries' strong desires can dominate the relationship, leaving others feeling inadequate or emotionally drained. For Aries, there is no middle ground. It's either a passionate connection or nothing at all. While this intensity can be thrilling for some, it can also scare others away. This all-or-nothing approach to intimacy is what makes Aries both captivating and intimidating in the realm of relationships. 6. Empathy that can be overwhelming. While Aries is often considered one of the most empathetic signs of the zodiac, their intense desire to help others can sometimes be overwhelming. Aries has a natural instinct to take on the burdens of those around them. They want to fix things, offer guidance, and provide support, often without being asked. However, this intense drive to help others can become a double-edged sword. When Aries' empathy turns into overbearing support, it can create friction in relationships. People may feel smothered or controlled by Aries' constant need to intervene in their lives, especially when they haven't requested help. Aries doesn't just offer assistance, they take on other people's problems as if they were their own, leaving little room for others to handle their own issues. This can feel intrusive, and in some cases, it can create resentment. In relationships, this empathy can make Aries seem too eager to fix everything, including problems that aren't theirs to solve. The constant need to intervene can make others feel that their boundaries are being crossed, which ultimately leads to frustration. To improve this dynamic, Aries should learn to step back and give others space to handle their own struggles. Sometimes, just being there without offering solutions can make a world of difference. 7. The silent pain of betrayal. Aries has a fiery nature, and they wear their emotions on their sleeve. However, when it comes to betrayal, Aries hides their pain behind a confident facade. Their pride prevents them from showing vulnerability, so when they're hurt, they often push those feelings deep inside, choosing to act as though nothing affects them. This reluctance to express emotional pain can lead others to believe that Aries is cold, unfeeling, or indifferent, when in fact, they may be deeply hurt. Aries can hold on to feelings of betrayal for a long time without letting anyone see the impact it has had on them. This emotional wall that they build to protect themselves can isolate them from others, as those around them may feel that Aries is unreachable or unwilling to be open about their feelings. This silent suffering often creates misunderstandings. People might assume that Aries has moved on quickly or is unaffected. But the reality is that they are emotionally wounded, just choosing to cope in their own way. Aries' refusal to express vulnerability can create a barrier in relationships, leaving others feeling disconnected. This can contribute to Aries' reputation for being difficult or emotionally distant, even though they might just be protecting themselves from further hurt. 8. High standards in a partner. Aries has incredibly high standards when it comes to choosing a partner. They are drawn to individuals who share their sense of adventure, strength, and independence. Aries seeks someone who is equally confident, fearless, and capable of facing challenges head-on. However, this can lead to disappointment when potential partners don't meet their expectations. If you're dating an Aries, you might feel like you're constantly being evaluated or compared to an idealized version of someone who is equally driven and strong. Aries has little tolerance for drama or people who sweat the small stuff. They are attracted to individuals who have a clear sense of purpose and a no-nonsense attitude. However, this can make Aries appear overly critical or dismissive of those who don't match up. While this high standard is a reflection of Aries' own confidence, it can leave their partners feeling judged or unworthy. The pressure to live up to Aries' expectations can be exhausting for anyone who doesn't share the same intensity. Aries doesn't hesitate to cut ties with someone who doesn't meet their standards, which can be seen as callous or even ruthless. As a result, they're often viewed as picky, demanding, and sometimes unapproachable in their romantic relationships. 9. The romantic tornado. Aries is often described as a whirlwind of passion when it comes to love. They fall quickly and intensely, diving headfirst into relationships without much hesitation. While this can be exhilarating, it also leads to complications. Aries doesn't take the time to truly understand their partner before committing, which can result in mismatched expectations and heartache. Their impulsive approach to love makes them seem like hopeless romantics who rush into relationships without fully considering the long-term consequences. This can create confusion for their partners, who may feel blindsided by Aries' sudden declarations of affection or intense commitment. Despite their impulsiveness, Aries has an insightful understanding of relationships and often gives solid advice, drawing from their own experiences. However, their tendency to rush into love and then offer unsolicited relationship guidance can come off as hypocritical. This whirlwind approach to love can leave behind a trail of confusion, frustration, and sometimes regret. People who are more cautious or prefer to take their time in relationships may feel overwhelmed or even misled by Aries' intensity. Aries' tendency to expect the same passion and enthusiasm from their partners that they give can lead to unrealistic expectations and emotional burnout. 10. Respect the space of an Aries woman. The Aries woman is a force to be reckoned with. She values her independence above almost everything else, and she expects those around her to respect her boundaries. Aries women are not afraid to speak up when they feel their personal space is being violated, whether that's physical space or emotional space. For them, autonomy is a core value, and they will not tolerate anyone who tries to infringe on that. Whether it's a simple touch that feels too familiar or a dismissive gesture that undermines her worth, the Aries woman will react quickly and decisively. This strong sense of independence can make her seem unapproachable or even combative to those who don't understand her need for personal space. However, this fierce independence is part of her identity and something she holds dear. If you don't respect her boundaries, you're likely to face her wrath. To some, this insistence on personal space is empowering. For others, it can feel intimidating or standoffish. This dynamic makes the Aries woman one of the most polarizing figures in the zodiac. She's fiercely protective of her time, energy, and emotional well-being. While her boundaries may be empowering for those who respect them, they can also drive a wedge between her and those who don't fully understand or respect her need for space. 11. Late-night calls, no apologies. One of the most challenging aspects of Aries' personality is their impulsive nature. When an idea strikes them, it strikes hard regardless of the time. Aries doesn't consider the clock before making a call or sending a message, whether it's 4 a.m. or midnight. If they feel the urge to communicate something, they won't hesitate to reach out. While this can be exhilarating for those who share Aries' spontaneity, it can also be incredibly disruptive to others. If you're someone who values your sleep or quiet time, Aries' late-night calls or sudden bursts of energy can be jarring. They simply don't follow a timetable when it comes to acting on their thoughts. And sometimes, this disregard for boundaries can make others feel disrespected or annoyed. Aries doesn't mean to be inconsiderate, they simply act on their instincts. This is part of their innate drive to live life in the moment. However, this impulsiveness can alienate friends, family, or partners who don't share the same sense of urgency. In relationships, this can feel as though Aries' priorities take precedence over others' needs, making them seem self-centered or thoughtless. If you're dealing with an Aries, it's important to communicate your boundaries clearly, as they might not always recognize the disruption they cause. 12. Creativity as the ultimate bond. Aries thrives on creativity and intellectual stimulation. They need people around them who inspire them, challenge them, and bring fresh perspectives into their world. To Aries, creativity is not just about artistic expression, it's about the energy, ideas, and innovation that drive personal and collective growth. For Aries, a relationship that lacks intellectual or creative depth is a relationship that quickly becomes boring and unfulfilling. However, this focus on creativity can make Aries seem elitist or dismissive. They may have little patience for people who don't meet their standards of intellectual or creative excellence. Aries values relationships that push boundaries and foster dynamic, engaging conversations. If someone doesn't share this passion or isn't as driven in their pursuits, Aries can quickly lose interest. This approach can lead to feelings of exclusion or inadequacy in those who don't meet Aries' high expectations. While this may be unintentional, it can create tension, as Aries might unintentionally alienate people who feel they aren't creative enough to be in their circle. The pressure to constantly innovate and be intellectually stimulating can make it difficult for others to connect with Aries on a deeper, more personal level. It's important for Aries to recognize that not everyone shares their creative vision. And sometimes, genuine connections are built outside of intellectual or creative pursuits. 13. Relentless pursuit of self-improvement. Aries is known for their fierce drive to improve themselves. They constantly seek challenges and opportunities to grow, whether in their personal life, career, or physical fitness. This relentless pursuit of self-betterment is often inspiring, pushing Aries to achieve remarkable success in many areas of life. However, this desire for constant improvement can be exhausting, not just for Aries but also for those around them. Aries' determination to succeed can sometimes create friction in relationships, as they often expect others to keep up with their level of ambition. They may push people to be more driven, even if those around them are content with a slower pace or a more relaxed lifestyle. Aries can inadvertently make others feel like they're falling short of expectations, creating feelings of inadequacy or frustration. This sense of urgency and intensity can feel overwhelming to those who don't share the same drive for success. For Aries, the journey of self-improvement is never-ending, and this constant striving can make it difficult for them to appreciate the present moment. They might overlook the small wins and joys of life because they are so focused on the next goal. While this ambition can be admirable, it can also alienate those who are less focused on self-advancement. Aries needs to learn to slow down sometimes and appreciate the process rather than constantly pushing forward. 14. Unforgettable memory. Aries has an exceptional memory, especially when it comes to negative experiences or perceived slights. They are quick to recall any offense, no matter how small, and tend to hold on to grudges for an extended period. This sharp memory can make them formidable opponents in conflict, as they remember every detail of past disagreements. If someone hurts Aries, they are unlikely to forget it anytime soon. This tendency to remember past grievances can create a barrier in relationships. Aries may continue to hold on to old issues and bring them up when the opportunity arises, making it difficult for others to move forward. Their ability to recall every hurtful word or action can create an environment of tension, where people feel like they are walking on eggshells around Aries, constantly worried about saying or doing something that might trigger old resentments. For Aries, their memory is a source of strength, as it allows them to protect themselves from further harm. However, it can also be a source of emotional burden, as they find it hard to let go of negative experiences. Aries might benefit from learning to forgive and release grudges in order to cultivate healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Holding on to past hurts prevents Aries from moving on and can create a sense of emotional isolation, making them seem bitter or unwilling to reconcile. 15. Evidence before action. When it comes to issues like trust or jealousy, Aries takes a methodical approach. They don't jump to conclusions or act impulsively based on emotions. Instead, they prefer to gather concrete evidence before confronting someone. While this might seem like a mature and logical way to handle suspicion or jealousy, it can also lead to feelings of discomfort or insecurity in relationships. Aries' need for evidence before taking action can make their partners feel like they're constantly under scrutiny. This calculated approach can be exhausting for those who are constantly questioned or analyzed, even if they have nothing to hide. Aries doesn't like uncertainty, and they need solid proof before making any emotional decisions. This can lead to an atmosphere of tension, where everyone feels as though they are being watched or judged. While this methodical approach prevents unnecessary conflicts, it can also create a sense of mistrust. Aries' insistence on having evidence before acting can make them seem overly suspicious or paranoid, causing their partners or friends to feel like they are not trusted. Aries needs to balance their desire for clarity with the understanding that not every situation requires proof to trust someone fully. Sometimes, relationships thrive on faith and openness, rather than on hard evidence or facts. 16. Betrayal awakens their dark side. Aries is known for their generosity, loyalty, and kindness to those they care about. However, betrayal is a line they will not tolerate. When someone betrays their trust, Aries' response is swift, and it's often final. Aries sees betrayal as the ultimate violation of loyalty, and once that bond is broken, they find it almost impossible to forgive or forget. For Aries, loyalty is sacred. They invest their time, energy, and emotions wholeheartedly into relationships, and when that trust is shattered, it feels like an irreparable wound. Aries will cut ties with the person who has betrayed them, and they won't look back. They don't believe in second chances when trust is broken, and they won't be persuaded to reconcile with someone who has violated their values. This hardline approach can make Aries seem cold, unforgiving, or even vengeful, but to them, it's a matter of self-preservation. The idea of opening up to someone who has hurt them is too much to bear. While some might admire their ability to protect themselves from harm, others see Aries' stance as harsh or unyielding. This trait often isolates Aries, as few people can understand the depth of their anger and refusal to forgive. If you're close to an Aries, it's crucial to understand that their commitment to loyalty is not just a value but a cornerstone of their identity. Once betrayed, they see no point in allowing that person back into their life, which can make them seem like they are cutting off others too easily. Aries can benefit from reflecting on whether their commitment to cutting people off is always the healthiest approach or if forgiveness could sometimes pave the way for personal growth. 17. Infidelity is unforgivable. Aries places a high premium on honesty and transparency in their relationships. For them, infidelity is not just an offense against the relationship. It's a betrayal of their core values. If Aries discovers that they've been cheated on, they will struggle to move past it. Their trust is hard to rebuild once broken in this way. Aries takes loyalty very seriously, and infidelity undermines everything they believe in. The idea that someone could deceive them shakes their foundation of self-worth and trust. When Aries is hurt by infidelity, their reaction is often swift and intense. Expect them to cut ties quickly, with little room for second chances. This makes Aries appear harsh and unforgiving to those around them. The inability to forgive infidelity is a deeply ingrained trait in Aries, and this can make them seem emotionally unapproachable or even rigid. For those who believe in giving people a second chance, Aries' unforgiving nature can be difficult to understand. While Aries' stance on loyalty is admirable, it can also make them seem judgmental or excessively harsh. They often believe that once trust is violated, The relationship is beyond repair, and no amount of apologizing can fix what has been broken. If you're in a relationship with an Aries, it's important to understand that they expect complete transparency and loyalty. They don't have much patience for dishonesty, and any act of betrayal, especially infidelity, is a deal breaker for them. 18. Ending relationships without regret. Aries is known for their decisiveness. And when it comes to relationships, they don't hesitate to cut ties if something isn't working. Unlike many people who linger in unfulfilling relationships due to fear of change or emotional attachment, Aries believes in moving forward and not looking back. They are practical when it comes to their emotional life and won't hesitate to end a relationship that no longer serves them. While this approach might seem efficient and honest, it can come across as cold or unfeeling to others. Aries doesn't waste time prolonging something that lacks potential, but for those who value sentimentality or want to give relationships another chance. Aries' willingness to end things without regret can be jarring. Aries may not feel emotionally burdened by the end of a relationship, but to others, it can seem as though they are heartless or detached. This trait can make Aries seem ruthless in their approach to love and relationships. They often believe that staying in a relationship that no longer works is a waste of time. And they value their own happiness above holding on to something out of obligation. However, this can make them seem unemotional or even dismissive of the value that others place on compromise and effort in relationships. For Aries, understanding that relationships sometimes require compromise and growth, even when things are tough, can help them maintain healthier and more balanced emotional connections. 19. Proud to show off their love. Aries is a passionate sign that doesn't shy away from showing their love. They love to celebrate their relationships, whether it's through public displays of affection or talking about their partner openly. Aries is confident and expressive about their feelings, and they enjoy sharing that part of themselves with the world. However, this openness can sometimes be misinterpreted as arrogance or attention-seeking behavior. Aries' need to display their love can make them seem like they are flaunting their relationship, and not everyone appreciates such public displays. People who are more private or introverted might feel uncomfortable with Aries' overt expressions of affection. This behavior can sometimes breed envy, resentment, or even criticism from others, making Aries seem like they are showing off or seeking validation from the outside world. Aries doesn't intend to come across as boastful, they simply believe in expressing their joy and love without shame. However, this unapologetic approach to their relationships can make others feel excluded or uncomfortable. While it's important to embrace and celebrate love, Aries should also be mindful of how their expressions of affection might make others feel, especially in more reserved social environments. 20. Finding meaning in the smallest things. Aries often has a deep appreciation for the little things in life. They value meaningful gestures, small acts of kindness, and moments that others might overlook. This trait stems from their need for authenticity and sincerity in all aspects of life. Aries believes that the smallest actions can reveal the most about a person's true character and the depth of their connection. However, this focus on the little details can sometimes make Aries seem overly picky or sentimental. While their attention to these moments is heartfelt, others may perceive them as excessive or overly focused on things that seem insignificant. Aries' insistence on finding meaning in the smallest aspects of life can sometimes lead to misunderstandings, as they might come across as difficult or hard to please. For Aries, it's important to recognize that not everyone shares the same values when it comes to appreciating the little things. While this trait can enhance their relationships and bring a sense of depth to their interactions, it can also create tension when others don't view the same moments as meaningful. Aries can benefit from being more flexible and understanding that different people find value in different ways. 21. Sleep is sacred for Aries. For Aries, sleep is not just a necessity, it's a sacred ritual. Aries needs their rest to recharge their boundless energy and prepare for the challenges of the day. They value their sleep deeply, and any interruption to this sacred time can cause them to become irritable or short-tempered. If you've ever woken an Aries during their sleep, you know how disruptive it can be. Aries' fiery energy requires proper rest to maintain their high level of enthusiasm and drive. Any disturbance during their sleep can trigger an intense reaction, which may come across as overly sensitive or unreasonable. While this may seem trivial to some, for Aries, their sleep is a crucial part of their well-being and productivity. This need for sleep can create friction in relationships, especially with those who don't understand the importance Aries places on their rest. If you interrupt their sleep or fail to respect their need for rest, Aries may react defensively. For Aries, sleep is non-negotiable, and their commitment to protecting this time is something they take very seriously. Understanding this can help you avoid unnecessary conflict with an Aries, especially if they seem overly irritable after a disrupted night's sleep. As we've uncovered, Aries is a force of nature, fiery, bold, and unstoppable. Their unwavering confidence and relentless drive to succeed make them some of the most dynamic individuals in the zodiac. But, just like any powerful force, their energy can sometimes be too much to handle. Whether it's their brutal honesty, their overwhelming passion, or their inability to tolerate betrayal, Aries embodies a complexity that can both inspire and intimidate. So, what does this mean for us? While Aries traits might cause friction in certain relationships, there's no denying the immense value they bring to the table. Their authenticity, fearlessness, and determination are qualities we can all learn from. Maybe it's about embracing our inner Aries, standing up for what we believe in, following our passions unapologetically, and not being afraid to make bold decisions in life. However, it's also important to find a balance and consider the impact our actions may have on others. If you are an Aries, or if you know someone with these fiery qualities, remember that your strength is also your vulnerability. It's okay to soften the edges sometimes, to let your guard down, and to allow others to meet you halfway. And if you're on the receiving end of an Aries' intense nature, take a moment to appreciate their sincerity and loyalty, even when their methods seem harsh. Aries may be one of the most polarizing signs of the zodiac, but they are undeniably one of the most fascinating. Embrace their complexity and learn to navigate their powerful energy with understanding and respect. At the end of the day, it's these unique qualities that make Aries who they are, and perhaps, why they leave such a lasting impression. If you found this video insightful, be sure to subscribe to Zen Mind Peaceful Life for more deep dives into astrology, personal growth, and cosmic wisdom. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Are you an Aries, or do you know one? How do you relate to these traits? Let's talk about it. And remember, no matter your sign, it's the journey of understanding ourselves and others that brings true peace. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more exciting content that will help you live a more mindful, peaceful life. Until next time, take care and embrace the unique energy that makes you, you.